The worst thing he can say is no and call security, and I'm escorted away. When I started doing the Why I Drive series, there's obviously like a list of cars that I'm like, these are holy grail cars. You know, I've got holy grail sort of people I want to interview. And then there's a holy grail of like my ultimate cars I want to do. So some of the cars on that list are like Celine S7. I really want to find a Celine S7. Lamborghini Veneno. There's only 3. One of the 3 is in Miami. And I messaged the owner and he said, not right now, basically. So maybe one day that could still happen. And then there's another one in Montreal. And I live in Canada, so being in Montreal, I thought this is convenient. Maybe I'll go out there and do it. However, I talked to a few friends that live in the area and they advised me not to for reasons that exist. And then there's a third one in Asia. Now, that one, I don't know who owns it. I don't even know where to start on it. So I think I'm just going to stick to try and hopefully interview the one in Miami at some point. The other sort of hyper Lamborghini, you know, you've got Lamborghinis and then you've got Lamborghinis and then you've got Lamborghinis, is the Sesto Elemento. I've only ever seen one on Top Gear with Richard Hammond when he reviewed it, and I just remember thinking that is the craziest Lamborghini ever. They were supposed to build 20 of them when they came out. So far, I believe only 11 VIN numbers have been found. They never ended up building the full production run because there just weren't enough customers that wanted to buy it. When they unveiled the car, I believe it was in Monterey at the time, at Quail, I think back in 2011, 2010, 0 North American customers wanted it. Literally nobody bought the car in North America. All of the ones that sold went to Asia or the Middle East. Nobody else bought one. And they only ended up selling 9 of them, it's believed. 2 are prototypes. One of them is the Lamborghini car in the museum. One of them, I found out recently, is at Boeing's apparently headquarters in Seattle, allegedly. Never seen proof of that. And then the other 9 cars apparently are the customer cars that are sold. Most of them are actually in Asia still. And then there are 2 street legal ones that were from the Middle East. So the one famous video of the LaFerrari, the yellow one, racing the Sesto Elemento, it was all over the car internet 10 years ago. That Sesto ended up being sold to a customer, I believe in England, who took it to Lansante. They converted it to road legal along with another Sesto that I don't know where that one came from. That other Sesto went to Ireland, but the one that was in the Middle East video with the LaFerrari ended up getting shipped out to America. And this was all in the last 12 months. It went to Monterey Car Week last year and it was driving around everywhere and it was like the car of Car Week. Everybody was freaking out about it. There was a video of it almost getting crashed into on dash cam. It was just insane. And I went to Monterey and I didn't even get to see the car. Somehow, the whole week, I missed it. Everywhere I went, it was gone and then I would leave and then it would be there. So I never got to see the car. Now, I ended up finding the Instagram account of the person who was driving the car, I believe, around Monterey. I don't know the gentleman that was driving it, but I messaged what I believe is his Instagram account and I said, hey, would you mind doing an interview at some point with this car? I'll fly if you want me to come to England or America, wherever the car is. I would love to do this interview with the car. It's not about like who you are really, you know, you can keep your identity private if you want. You don't need to say your name. You can use an alias if you really want. I just want to do an interview. Unfortunately, he said, no, you know, I'm not interested, which is completely the response I expected. Usually these kind of cars at this level, the owners do not want to have their face on camera. They don't want to be publicly named. They want really nothing to do with the cars. They want to own it. They want their friends to maybe see it, and that's about it. They don't have any interest at this point in being online. So I thought, whatever, it'll probably never happen, right? Sesto Elemento. Well, fast forward to about 2 months ago, I went to Arizona for Arizona Car Week, Arizona Auction Week with Barrett Jackson and RM Sotheby's and all the other events. And I was at RM Sotheby's and they had this exotic car rally, the 10 rally, I think it's called. And I'm standing there and I'm told, oh, all these hypercars are gonna come. And there's the Sesto, it pulls up. I've never seen one in my life before. And there it is, in the flesh. I'm like, oh my goodness, there's a Sesto Elemento in front of me right now. And I can't believe I'm actually seeing this for the first time ever. I had no idea it was going to be there. And so I'm just standing there and there's hundreds and hundreds of people crowding around. I can't even get like a picture of it really. And one of my friends, Nick Williams, who used to work at Curated and now he works with RM Sotheby's, he told me that this gentleman standing over there was the owner. He's like, that's the guy who owns it. Go talk to him. And I was like, he's probably gonna say no. What are the, like, why bother even? Honestly, I'm just like, there's no way a guy with a Sesto is gonna say yes. Because in the time that I messaged the previous guy, he'd sold it. And then this guy had bought the car. So I'm like standing there and there's hundreds of people and this guy's talking to all these other people. And eventually I get up the guts and I'm like, you know what? Nick's right. It's worth a shot. Let me just go and ask the guy. The worst thing he can say is no and call security and I'm escorted away. That's the worst that can happen, right? So I go up to the guy and I wait for the perfect moment and I introduce myself and I say, hey, my name's TJ Lamb and I have a Magna Cars YouTube channel and I interview people on their cars. Would you be willing to do an interview with the Sesto Elemento? He's got sunglasses on and he stands there and he looks at me and he's like, yeah, you know what? I don't see why not. And I was like, no way. This guy just said he'd do an interview. And I didn't know who the guy was. So I'm just like, okay, this is cool. What on earth is going on though? I can't believe it. I say, you give me your contact information. He gives it to me and I get his details and then he goes off to some other event. So I text him that night. I'm like, hey, thanks for letting me, give me the opportunity to potentially do an interview with you, because I don't let myself get too excited about whenever things like this happen, because you never know. A lot of people flake, a lot of people bail, in the world in general. So I'm like, maybe this guy's gonna change his mind or something as he sleeps on it. So he doesn't text me back that night. Next day, doesn't text me back. I'm like, hey, I probably lost the interview. It's probably gone forever. He's probably just saying it. Maybe he gave me a fake phone number, who knows? And I'm sitting back at RM Sotheby's the next day with Nick Rochon from the Doug DeMuro podcast, Cars and Bids. And we're sitting there at RM and we're watching the auctions. And guess who comes in and sits in the row basically in front of me is this gentleman and his family. And I'm like, no way. In the whole auction room, he comes and sits right by me. And he doesn't notice I'm sitting there. And I don't want to interrupt him. So when he gets up to leave, I then go over and I'm like, hey, do you remember me from yesterday? Because I'm like, I got to shoot my shot again, right? Like, I can't just let this slip away. And I'm like, hey, you said yesterday you might be interested in doing an interview. I sent you a text last night. You didn't get back to me. I'm not sure did you still want to do it or not really? And he's like, oh, yeah, sorry about that. Like, here's my email. Contact me that way. So I'm like, okay. He gives me his email. I send him an email. I'm like, hey, it's me again. It's the, shooting my shot again. And no response for like a few hours. I'm like, okay, who knows at this point. If you own a Sesto, you probably don't need to be on a YouTube video. And then a few hours go by and I check again and he responded back to me and he's like, hey, would this day work? Saturday, because I'm flying out on Saturday and the car lives in San Francisco. So I knew after this week it's going to be going back to San Francisco. I'm going back to Canada. And I'm like, this is my window. This is my chance to do this, because once it's gone, like, who knows, what's going to happen. And he's like, let's do it Saturday. There's a big car show at Young Motor Cars. Can you do it there? And I'm like, yeah, I can do it there. But I know that show is going to be insane. There's going to be thousands and thousands of people there. How on earth am I going to film an interview like this with 150 people crowding around us? So I show up to the show and he sends me an email and he's like, hey, my guys will get you. When you own a Sesto like this, you have guys, you have people around you, security, whatever. And so I'm standing at the show and at this point, I'm communicating with one of his guys. And he's like, okay, let me know when you're here and come over to my 959 or the boss's 959. Because he also had a 959 there at the show. So I'm standing at the 959. There's hundreds of people at this show. And I'm just kind of standing there looking like a lost dog. And this guy comes over and he's the owner's security, I think, undercover security. And the owner's there and his son is there, who's a massive car enthusiast. And they say, hey, let's go back to the Sesto Elemento, because the Sesto's inside the building at the show. And there is a queue out the door to look at this car. I mean, there's LaFerraris there, there's Apollo IEs there, 2 of them. There's CLK GTR, everything else, and the Sesto is like the highlight of the show because nobody's ever seen one before. So they take me around the back of the building and we get in through the back and security lets us in and there's the car and I'm like, oh my goodness, this is actually gonna happen. And I'm just praying that somehow this video goes smoothly because this is my one chance to do a Sesto Elemento ever. And so the show kind of ends, but the people don't clear out because everyone wants to watch the Sesto leave. And I have to catch my flight and the owner also has events to go to and stuff to do. And so we're kind of like, okay, well, we got to get this video done. So I'm like, we need to move the car outside the building. That's where we'll film the video, just behind the warehouse. And he's like, okay, let's do it. So we move the car outside the building, and there's a crowd of people around the car. You can't see anything. And they get the car out there. And then security, thankfully, saved the day. And they literally are like, hey, who needs to be here? Me, the owner's son. Okay, everybody else needs to clear out. Okay, they clear everybody else out, which I felt a little bit bad because like I want everyone to see the car too, right? I want people to get pictures as well. But they did that. They cleared everyone out and we filmed the video. And the owner, to my shock, was actually a massive car enthusiast, because up until this point of turning the camera on, I didn't know whether he was going to be like, yeah, I bought the car and it's cool, or whether he's going to be like, well, this is the history, these are the details, this is the reason why, you know? You don't know what kind of guy the owner is. But I turn the camera on and it turns out he's a full-on car enthusiast. He loves cars. His first job was at a body shop in the 60s, I think it was, or 70s. You know, he's been around cars his whole life. However, the owner of this car is the co-founder of Ripple, and he's involved in XRP, and it's Chris Larsen. I didn't know who Chris Larsen was, and here I am interviewing Chris Larsen. And I still don't really know who Chris Larsen is, if I'm honest with you. I just know about cars. So I'm interviewing this guy, and he's like, yeah, my dream car was a Cobra back in the day, and I have a VW bus I restored, and I'm restoring a 911 with my son, and I bought this car last week. And I'm like, oh my goodness, wow. And he's like, I bought it because Boeing developed the car with carbon fiber, and he was really into the history and sort of like the manufacturing process and just the craziness that the Sesto Elemento is. It has no interior, no glove box. It's all carbon fiber. Sesto Elemento is 6th element, which is carbon. So we get in the car, and I'm just like, this is not happening. There's no, like, how in earth am I interviewing a Sesto Elemento? Because Chris Larsen, although he is sort of a public figure, he's never been publicized having any of these cars. Nobody knew he owned this car. Nobody knew he was a car guy. And here I am, and we go for a ride because this car is street legal, remember? So we take it out on the street. We've got the private undercover security following us, and we're going down the road. And I think we're just going to go out and, you know, he's going to drive it slow. And he's ripping on it, like full on ripping on it on this sort of industrial estate. And there's gravel pebbles everywhere, and the pebbles, you hear everything because the way you sit in that car is literally in the carbon tub. The seat is like pads attached to the tub. There's no dashboard, there's no glove box. All of the electronics and all of the like wiring and all of like the ECU type stuff is literally behind your head right here. So you can turn around, you can literally just pull the fuses out of the car like that. And it's like full on harnesses, you know, slot windows. And we're just ripping up this back road with the private security behind us. And I'm like, this is just unreal. I don't know how this happened. And we finished the video, and I thank him, and I immediately rushed to the airport to catch my flight. But I think just for me, it was insane interviewing him. Like, I never thought that I would ever get to interview a Sesto Elemento. And it wasn't me that did it. Like, people afterwards, they asked me, they're like, dude, how did you align that interview? Like, how did you get him to say yes? Like, how did you do this? How did you do that? I'm like, I honestly did none of it. It was all God. Like I say, I'm like, I shot my shot and God put it in the net. I did not plan that. I did not know that was going to happen. I didn't contact him and email him beforehand. It wasn't organized like a month in advance. It literally just happened within 3 days. I'd never seen one of these to all of a sudden I'm going for a ride in it and we're driving it around. And I was just like, wow, it's crazy what God can do in your life when you just trust him. You know, when I make plans, I find that they usually go all right. Sometimes they go really well. But whenever I make a plan, there's always a better plan for God in my life. So I went to Arizona. I had all these people I wanted to interview. And then God had even better plans for me. So I was just so thankful that I got to interview this car. I'm like, it doesn't even make logical sense. Still doesn't make logical sense why Chris said yes to doing that video. I'm just thankful that he did, because still nobody knows other than this one video that he's a massive car guy, unless you're, you know, in the private hypercar world selling him a car. And I do believe in the last few weeks he bought a T50 and a Gera RS, and he's got a Huayra BC, and he bought a 918, so 959. I mean, he's buying cars, and the cool thing is he's actually driving them. He said in that video that he's going to drive the Sesto Elemento around San Francisco, and he's going to drive it to work, and he's going to have weeks where it's like Pagani week, Sesto week. That's literally his words. So if you're in San Francisco, you might see a random Sesto Elemento driving around. And in fact, one of the comments on the video a few days later was like, hey, I'm pretty sure I just saw a Sesto Elemento in San Francisco, and I thought, no way, that's got to be a replica. And after watching this video, I'm like, that was a real Sesto Elemento that I just saw in San Francisco. So if you live in that part of California, you might see Chris driving around in the Sesto. And I just want to say thank you, Chris, and thank you to his son, who is maybe even more of a car guy than he is. I'm so grateful for them being willing to do the interview, and I just want to say thanks to God for like making even better plans than I can make.
If you get a ticket, the first thing you should do is text a picture of it to 305-305. That will get the ticket clinic on your case immediately. You'll be facing costly fines, risks of suspension, possible jail time, points on your license, higher insurance premiums, and a lot of bad things that they can help you to avoid. You can also find them at the link in the description below, but the Ticket Clinic is a nationwide law firm with brick and mortar offices in Georgia, Florida, and California, but they've got attorneys everywhere, and that's what's most important, because a local attorney will know exactly how the local laws work, know the people who are in charge, and get you the best outcome possible. So text a picture of your ticket to 305-305 or click the link in the description below to fight your ticket with the Ticket Clinic.